Hi guys. How you guys doing? Good evening. Let's see who's here. First of all, let me know if you can hear me okay. I'm trying not to be too loud. Oh, let me stop the music first. There we go. All right. So let me know if you guys can hear me. I don't have the mic right in my face, but I can put it in my face if I need to. Let me look. Let me change the settings on this. There we go. I don't want to filter on. I like it more natural. And I don't have any lighting. Okay. Let's see. Let me look at the comments. Okay, hello. Let me move this over here. I got my dual monitors set up tonight so I can share my screen. But the way I have it with my camera and my monitors, I'm looking off this way to see you guys. Okay, let's see. Okay, everyone says you can hear me. Good, yay. Awesome. You guys, I know what time it is. It is 9:49 and I am on the computer at this hour. But I said if I don't do it now, It's never gonna happen. So I appreciate y'all being up. Now, I've tried to, change my ways of being a night owl. I actually like doing stuff at night. Like I like working at night. I like, but with having to get up and get my son ready for school and take him to daycare and all that, I can't be up at all hours of the night. But tonight I am. So I'm not in the bed. And I'm usually not even in the bed at this time anyhow. I'm just not in my office. And I know I'm congested, so I'm a little nasally. I'm getting over daycare disease, one of the many, many daycare diseases that I have caught. Like, I am thankful to be here. Y'all just don't know. I've caught literally everything since my son started daycare. It's just too much. It's too much. So let's see. Okay, so I know it's late. I have my notepad here, and you guys saw the title. We're doing our work from home Q&A. Now, I sent in the newsletter that we send out on Saturdays about 2 weeks ago to send in questions. And I also posted it in our private Facebook group. No one sent any questions on the Facebook group. And I was kind of surprised. And then all the questions that were sent in, like except for a couple to the support desk, were more so about like, how do I find a data entry job? Or how do I find, this type of job, that type of job, just really specific about like jobs. And I guess I should have given more context for like the kind of questions that I was looking to answer. So, data entry, how do I find a phone job or sales job or whatever? Like I can send you guys, the mega list or send you to the mega list, which I talk about all the time. So I went through the comments that I get, and that's where you guys send most of your really, really good questions that I think would be helpful for a lot of folks. So one of the questions that I got was about, jobs for older individuals, more seasoned people. I got questions about, jobs where you can, kind of be more flexible, make your own schedule. I'll talk about that. What was the other thing? And like I took terrible notes too. So yeah, I'm telling on myself here. But yeah, so jobs for older people, also jobs for nurses. That was another one that I want to address. Um, and I've made several job videos about healthcare type jobs. And then I'm just jogging my memory here for a couple other ones. See, I really don't like writing things down. I like keeping it up here, but since becoming a mom, I can't remember stuff. So I call myself having all these like notepads and, the apps on my phone, and I don't always use them. I know. So if you guys do have questions, we can chat about whatever questions you guys have. But I also wanted to talk about some of the things that I've been seeing going on in the wonderful world of remote work. And there are some companies that want everyone to go back to the office. And then, there are some companies who say, hey, remote work is great, it's here to stay. And I've also seen some things about, this upcoming season, holiday, not holiday, but, winter season. They're saying that something's supposed to be coming back. We know that's something. And that's going to possibly, kind of take us back some steps. So I just wanted to chat about that, a little bit of chit chat. So let's see what y'all are saying here before I get to the Q&A. Hey there. Hey, Lizzie. Hey, L. Jones. Hey, here comes the joy. Hey, Lisa, M Star, J Fitness Health. Hey, y'all. Miss Cammy. Jerry's in the house. And I'm so sorry if I don't get to everybody. Hey, Erica, Sylvia, how you doing? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Sylvia said that she enjoys the information that I provide, and she's still nervous about leaving the corporate world, but hate it at the same time. Miss Sylvia, you are not alone. That is what got me into the wonderful world of remote work. I thought it was me. I thought something was wrong with me, why I just couldn't get with the program. It seemed like everybody was able to, you know, get up and do the commute and go to the office and be there all day long, and then, want to go hang out after work, and then go home and get a little bit of sleep and turn around and do it all over again. I'm like, something must be wrong with me because I don't like any of this. Like I really don't like the commute. I don't like being here for 8 hours. I don't want to hang out after this. I want to take it to the house. But, I just realized that everything isn't for everybody. And that's when I discovered remote work. So you are not alone. Trust me. You're in good company. This looks like something's in the corner of my eye. Hold on, guys. Oh, this is my makeup. Actually, it's my glue from my lashes. Let me get it. There we go. And I might duck off camera a little bit because daycare disease. So I have my tissues, I've been taking my meds, all that good stuff. So hey, Kimberly. Kimberly's in Georgia. Yes. Georgia Peach is in the house. Hello, Violet. Hello, Debbie. Doing good, doing good. Okay, you guys. All right, so I'm just perusing here, and then we are going to jump into these questions. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here. Okay, I see a couple of questions that I'm going to come back to. Now, the first question that I want to answer, and I know this isn't going to apply to everybody, but I have gotten in the last few weeks questions about what jobs can you do if you're an older individual? And the answer is you could do any job that you want to do from home. You just have to be comfortable with it. But specific companies that I can call out that have mentioned being great for, seasoned professionals, T-Tech. It was not 2022 when I did like a mini T-Tech week last year, but 2021 and 2020 I did a full-on T-Tech week where I had people from T-Tech on my channel talking. And there's one interview that I can point y'all to, and I'm going to look on my channel while I'm talking here so I can provide the link. But during that interview with Christina, she's the T-Tech talent acquisition director. She mentioned specifically in that interview that T-Tech likes, older, seasoned professionals. So T-Tech is one company, and I'm going to put that in the comments here. Okay, so you can find that video on my channel, and let me go ahead and share my screen just so you can see what that video looks like. Okay, I'll share my screen real quick. No technical difficulties. I always have them, but not today. Let's not have that today. So I'm going to share my screen. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll put it over here. Okay. So I'm going to share this one. Oh, nice. All right. So when you go to my YouTube channel, and if you do this from a computer, you can see this little magnifying glass here. This is the search, and you can just type in T-Tech, and it's this interview right here. So I put the link in the chat box so you have it. But that interview, she mentioned specifically T-Tech being one of the companies. And then the other company that I will call out is it's not I think it's Cigna. Give me just a second. I'm gonna stop the share real quick. But yeah, the other company that I've seen call out older professionals is Cigna. And we know Cigna is one of those always hiring companies. So you don't have to be a seasoned professional, but Cigna is a company that has mentioned specifically hiring older, seasoned professionals. I'm not sure which one you guys prefer. I don't want to be ageist, but, seasoned. So yeah, let me share screen. Okay. So we see on Cigna's website, if you go to their career section and you hit areas we hire for, if you hit that drop down, you'll see where it says, oh, hold on, let me go back. Because I thought I just saw it. I literally just clicked on something. Where is it? I really thought I had just clicked on, or maybe I imagined it. Don't laugh at me, y'all. I know I had just seen it. They had it listed here. Hold on. Give me a second. It's either them or Humana. Let's see. Tamia, why are you playing in the comments? Am I real or am I AI? Okay, this is where it is. I'm sorry, you guys. It's Humana. I don't know why I thought Cigna, but Cigna is another good one too. And I'll tell you why in just a second. Humana is the one that specifically calls out seasoned professionals. So if you go to Humana's website and you go to their career section, then you will see at the top of it, you hit careers. I'll show you how to get there. And then they switched their website around. So I know I'm kind of fumbling over here, but you see the picture of the woman working here. They're letting you know that, hey, if you've retired or if you're, in the second part of your career, we have something for you. So they moved their website around a little bit, but I believe it was either Cigna or Humana that had that specific call out. But I'm thinking it's Humana now that I'm looking at what they have here. So those are two companies that I've seen have it listed for. This is it. Jobs after retirement. Yes, it was Humana. Okay. Thank you guys for bearing with me. So, jobs after retirement, Humana has specifically called out folks who have retired and are looking to continue on in, earning money. Now, like I said, you don't have to go with any certain company that says we hire you after retirement or if you're older, because technically companies are not supposed to discriminate. That's what they say. Now, as long as you feel like you are able to do the job, then it really shouldn't be any issue. And I would say also like working solutions, any kind of contract type work, jobs where it's not, what's the word? I'm going to use my words carefully. I'm not going to say not too serious, but kind of. Because with those jobs, it's like it is what it is. You show up, you do your job. You're not going to be retiring, and getting a gold watch when you're done working at, working solutions or, another one is like Sykes or Concentrics. those types of jobs, omni interactions. Yeah, those types of, customer service. We hire everybody who kind of comes through. Those are good jobs that you could do that aren't too serious. But, when it comes to flexibility, which is something that you might be looking for, then I would say, the ones where you can make your schedule, and like here they specifically call out on Humana's site, flexible schedule. What does that mean? They don't get into the details, but they call that out. So, those are, places you could go, T-Tech, like I mentioned. So, yeah. And they're also beginner friendly. Yes, Terry's on the money. Yes, they are beginner friendly as well. So, those are a couple places that I could mention specifically for, seasoned professionals. Now, the next question that I received that I want to talk about are jobs for nurses. And this is something that like has been on my mind to make a video about literally since I had my son. Because one of the conversations that I had with one of my nurses when I was having my son 2 years ago, he's almost 2 next month, it's crazy, was she was asking about, oh, what do you do, blah blah blah. And I was like, oh, work from home jobs. And she mentioned like, oh, I'd love to do that, but I don't think I could. And I'm like, well, actually, there are jobs for nurses from home. And someone left me a comment earlier this week or last week asking about, any nurse jobs. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put those in a blog post, but I keep track of them in my ClickUp account. And so, since I'm on here talking about it, some of the companies that I can shout out that I have seen. I mean, so there's a company called Rothman Orthopedic Institute, Optum. They have nursing jobs. Care Source, Commonwealth Care Alliance, Johns Hopkins, MedCore Inc., uh, Oak Bend Medical Center. These are all the companies that I keep on a list. So Trinity Health, Aviana Healthcare, CareXM, WorkCare, BJC Healthcare, Sutter Health, HIA, that's Health Information Alliance, Performant. These are just some of the companies that when I'm looking for jobs and, just researching, I'll come across different companies that will hire you to be like a nurse from home. And I do, try to stay organized, and I use my ClickUp account. That's what me and my team use for like project management. So I'm going to most likely do a blog post, maybe a video about that. But that's a question that I received. And let's see, let me take it to the chat to see what questions you guys are asking there. So, like I said, most of the questions that were sent in response to the newsletter were just about specifics. And before I take it to the chat, where I recommend folks go if you're looking for specific jobs is the mega list of jobs. So I'm going to share my screen here. And in case you have not been to the mega list of jobs, this is on my website. Let me make it bigger. There we go. So, excuse me, y'all. Told you daycare disease. I muted myself. I didn't want you guys hearing me cough. Okay. So when you go to my website, remoteworklife.co, you will see at the top this link, Mega List of Jobs. And I also link it in the description box of all my videos. You can come here and you can search for companies. You can even do some keyword searches for the tags that we have on these companies. And you can see if there's anything that works for what you're looking for. So, let's say, for example, I get so many questions about data entry. That's you guys' favorite thing. You could come to the mega list and you could search for like data. and then you'll see like all these things pop up. You can do the full thingy, or you can just leave it right there and see, what comes up. And right now there's 32 companies listed. So what that means is I've shared like 32 different companies on my channel that hire you to do data entry. And we update this list like once a month. And when you guys come here, you're able to find, who hires for data entry. And so then you can just copy the link that we have for the careers page, and then you just pop it into your browser. Okay, you just pop it into your browser and you go to the website, and then you can see, do they have anything for me? And this is how you search for open positions. So, I'm just giving you guys an example of how that goes, but this is how you can find leads, you know? This is how you can find leads. So does that make sense? Do y'all find the mega list of jobs helpful? Let me look back at the chat. Like, do you find the mega list of jobs helpful, or do you use it at all? Is there something you want to see on the mega list? And I'll try to get to you guys' questions soon. Okay, good. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Alina. All right, so yeah, use the mega list and you can find pretty much what you're looking for. So like you might say, well, I want something in customer service, or I want something in this specific type of whatever. You can search the mega list. So go to the mega list, and even like, let's say for example, maybe you're looking for, I don't know, you work in healthcare. Let's pretend you work in healthcare, but you work in healthcare in, some specific type of role. Well, you can still use the mega list of jobs, and you can just search for healthcare companies. So, whatever kind of job it is that you're looking for, it might not specifically be tagged on the mega list, but if well, I work in healthcare, you can use the mega list of jobs to find healthcare companies, then go to their careers page, and you can see, do they offer this specific type of healthcare job that I am looking for? So, will the mega list always have the specific title that you're looking for? No, probably not. But you can find companies that are within like the niche of what you're looking for. So I think that might have answered some questions already. So I'm going to go back to the chat, and I'm just going to start at the bottom here. If there's a pressing question you have, please just put it in the chat again, because scrolling up and down the chat just, yeah. Okay, so let's see. Caramel says, hi there. I've been watching for a little bit. I haven't come across any administrative specialist, executive administrative assistants, or administrative analyst listings. Any suggestions? So yeah, this is pretty much what I was just talking about. I know you had just put your question in, but if you're looking for administrative work, administrative jobs are pretty much every company. Now, if you say, well, I want to do administrative work for, again, using healthcare, then find those healthcare companies and then go see if they have any administrative positions open. I will share, administrative roles, coordinator positions, that kind of stuff on my channel. I usually try to stick to like more entry level, because most of the folks on my channel are more entry level than like seasoned. And since it's YouTube, I kind of have to make it more YouTube friendly. But you could also use those companies as leads for you to find the more seasoned roles. So oftentimes when I'm looking on these companies' websites, they might have administrative 1, administrative 2, administrative 3 positions, but I'll share the 1 position and maybe the 2 position. So you can actually go to my channel and you can look, or you can, just go to the mega list of jobs and, go from there, finding those more, second, third position, administrative roles. And I think those would, my videos and the mega list of jobs could help you with that. So, most of the times in the video, I'm going to do the, administrative one position versus the manager or the senior level, just because more people are in that bucket. Okay. Good night, Debbie. Thanks for joining. Yes, the replay will be on my channel. YouTube uploads it after it's done. Let's see. Nicole says, may I ask what job do you do at home? Is it enjoyable? So I started off working as an SAT and ACT tutor from home. So I was working in marketing. I was working at an insurance company when I graduated in 2015, and I had to travel for my job. So I've told you guys this a lot, but there's always new people to my channel, and so I started doing that as soon as I graduated, and I had to travel every single week, and I was burnt out. I thought business travel was going to be fun. So I went from always being on the road, basically living in a hotel, to wanting something totally different. And that's when I, discovered remote work. And so I got hired to be an SAT, ACT tutor. And I did tutor some like academic subjects. Like I had some like younger students who needed help with like reading, and then some of the students who I would tutor for SAT, ACT stuff, they were also having trouble with their like AP classes and stuff. So I did a little bit of everything. I did that from 2016 to almost 2019. And around that time, I started my channel. Now, in between that was my main job. I did multiple things online. So I even did like a rise for a little bit, answering calls. I hated that. That was, when I say, hey, I mean that. It was terrible. I also did tech support. And long story short, I was working doing tech support for someone who I knew who had like a software company. And there's like a lot of like softwares that people create. If you've ever heard of like websites like ClickBank or JVZoo or different places like that, you might find people who have their own. And so I was doing like support. And from there, I started doing like the hiring. And I was like, oh, this is kind of reminding me of how I would hire and fire agents back in the insurance world. And so, long story short, I transitioned more into like HR, and I started doing this for, other folks. And then at the same time, I had my YouTube channel. And yeah, so I've worked from home doing multiple things, but now I full time am a content creator and, have the software. So that's how I learned how to do, all the things of software development, because I was always hiring like developers and people in the tech space. So yeah, that's what I do. So I currently am a content creator, and I guess I don't know, what else would you, I don't really know what bucket to put myself in. I say I do HR, I do YouTube, I do software. I don't know. I just help people with their remote journeys. Mhm. Okay, so let's see the next questions. And yes, the other part of your question, is it enjoyable? I love working from home. Even when I was like on the clock, and I would schedule myself to tutor pretty much all day long. I wasn't married, I didn't have a child at the time, and I just wanted the money, and the money was good. So I would schedule myself to work around the clock. And even when I was working like sun up to sundown, I still loved it, as long as I don't have to go into anybody's office. I lost my place over here. Let me scroll back up. Mm, oh, I may have skipped this one. How do you get hired with no experience? You have an associate's and a bachelor degree? Okay, so I'm going to address your question after I actually address the better question here. You have an associate's degree and a bachelor's degree. So that right there, like let's just stick, you have a bachelor's degree. You have doors that are open to you that people without bachelor's degrees don't have open to them. And most of the jobs that I share on my channel don't require you to have a bachelor's degree, but the same companies also have positions where that might be a requirement. So you could take the advice for someone who, they don't have a bachelor's, they don't have any experience. And in that case, you would want to find something that does not require, an education level outside of a high school diploma or GED. And then there are companies that are willing to hire you with no experience. You just have to have those skills. So anytime I share a job on my channel that is no experience friendly, I always make sure to call that out in either the title or the thumbnail. And like yesterday, I shared one. The position that I shared was for a tech support 1 and tech support 2 role. The tech support 1 role said 0 to 2 years of experience. So you can do, you can do a job like that that doesn't require you to show up with any experience. However, because you have a bachelor's degree, you don't necessarily, a lot of times you'll see on leads where it'll say you either have 4 years working experience or you have like a combination of education and work experience, or you have education experience that you can use in place of work experience. So with you having a bachelor's degree, you could definitely come in much higher in a no experience position than someone who doesn't have a degree and doesn't have experience, because your education can replace the experience that you may not have. And then also think about any internships, any type of work that you may have done on campus. You can use that to make your resume look really good. I have a student template in the software that gives really good examples of someone who doesn't have any experience, but they are a college student. In your case, you'd be graduated, but it uses examples of what you may have done while you're in school to sort of give the impression that, hey, I do have experience with this, even though it may not have been paid. So chances are you do have more experience than you may think. But one place that you could get started with just a bachelor's and start off making good money is anything in insurance. And like being an insurance underwriter, that's a great sort of desk job that doesn't require you to talk on the phone a whole lot, if any. Um, I used to go out to Omaha to meet with that's where the company that I worked for was based out of. And I would meet with like the underwriter so that we could kind of have this marketing underwriting connection. And there would be times, very rarely, that I'd speak to them on the phone, but 9 times out of 10, they're just sort of sitting at their desk underwriting. So if you're someone who's like, I don't really want to talk on the phone, I kind of want more of a career, which sounds like it because you went to school, then that might be one place that you get into. And most insurance companies, which I specified them, they like getting people fresh out of school so that they can train them the way that they want to go. So that's just one industry that I know, off top, that you might want to look into. But for the folks who don't have any education outside of high school, no experience, then I would recommend finding jobs that truly don't require, any type of experience, any type of education requirements, and you can get that experience and work your way up. 1099 call center jobs, like the ones that I mentioned for the older individuals, those are great jobs to get started with. Um, who else? And you can find them all over the place because I was very excited to see that tech support find that I shared yesterday from Select Quote. So, they're all around. You just gotta kind of keep your eyes peeled. You gotta search for jobs like it's a job. So, I hope that kind of gives you some direction, Erica. And that's insurance is where I got my start, right out of college. Okay. Okay, so how to transition from the 9 to 5 to work from home jobs? Well, you know what? And a lot of folks don't like to hear this. It's actually very similar to a 9 to 5. The only difference is you're doing it at home, which makes a big difference. But as far as like your schedule goes, most companies that are going to hire you to work from home, you'll typically see them say, oh, the position's traditional business hours, 8 to 4, 9 to 5. There are different shifts, but the majority of jobs out there, you'll see them have like those 9 to 5 business hours. Um, and I would also say keep your routine kind of the same. I actually have a blog post that I wrote about this on my website now that I'm thinking about it. Let me see if I can find it. I'll share my screen while I look for this. Okay. So let me see. This is an older post that I have, but basically, your routine for working from home is going to look just like your 9 to 5 almost. Except the good part is you don't have to wake up and commute. Most of the times, you can just, you know, dress the upper half up, and the rest could be pajamas. And you get breaks kind of similarly. And in my opinion, I think people thrive best when they work from home, when they try and keep their schedule, pretty much the same. Even though I have the autonomy to be working right now, at this hour, I still work mostly 9 to 5 schedule. And that's because my husband's, on the 9 to 5 schedule. My baby, he goes to school during that same kind of schedule. I'm trying to find this blog post here. I'm trying, scrolling through. But the transition, at least in my opinion, and maybe other folks can chime in the comments, it was very easy. I did have some issues at first with like the discipline aspect of it, but when I realized that I was going to have to get some discipline or I was going to be going back to the office, I got some discipline real quick. So it's not that different. Let's see, where is it? Oh, it's this blog post right here. Okay. So the blog post is called My Rules for Working Remotely. I actually wrote this pre-pandemic, but my website got hacked in like 2021 or something. So we had to re-upload everything after the website got rebuilt. But this was something that I wrote years ago. And I was actually just looking at this recently, and my schedule is still pretty much the same. So, this is a helpful blog post. I'll put the link in the chat box so you guys can see it if you want to see it. But, I always sort of start off my week with some sort of planning so that I know what I'm doing or what I'm supposed to be doing. If you're working, a job, then you kind of already know what your tasks are. So you can do this at the end of the work week or beginning. And then I still wake up early. And even before I had my son, I woke up, 6:30 to 7 a.m. Sleeping in, you're just going to feel like a bum. And then, while I'm working, I don't really watch TV unless like it's a break or something. And then, you have goals. And, if you're working a 9 to 5 from home, your manager is going to give you goals and things to check in about. And I still try to keep, weekend type activities or, anything that's not really work related to after work or on the weekends. And, and working out. That's another thing. Something that doesn't get talked about a whole lot because, you're sitting down at your desk all day. When I started working from home, I packed on some pounds, and a lot of folks do because you're just sitting all day. So, make sure you get out and you walk. You do you a workout, whether that's at the beginning of the day or the end of the day or on your lunch break. But those are my tips for transitioning to remote work. Okay. What about flexibility, work when you want jobs, setting your own hours? Yes. So there are other companies besides Working Solutions. I'll get you guys the video. This is an old video on my channel where I talk about like the big companies. What's it called? So there's always companies sort of popping up, but you guys can see how old these are. Arise, Live Ops, Working Solutions, NextRep, those are the main ones. So I don't think I compare NextRep in this video, and the video might not even be relevant anymore because stuff changes. All this was pre-pandemic. So, I'm not sure if anything has changed with any of the other companies mentioned, but Working Solutions, I worked with them at the end of last year. I can't remember if we did anything in January. I can't remember. But I know for a fact with them, getting started just requires you to take their assessment. And once you pass it, you're good to go and you can select an opportunity and make your hours from there. When I had worked for Arise, briefly, they required you to take individual assessments for the opportunity that you wanted to do. So instead of like taking one major assessment and getting on their platform at the time, you would choose the opportunity, take the assessment, then you'd pay for the training. And if you pass the training, then you had access to, making your schedule and, servicing that client. Whereas with Working Solutions, once you take the assessment, you're on their platform, you can choose the client and then you get started with the training. They don't make you pay for the training on Working Solutions. And some of their clients give you a stipend at the end of it. So that was with Working Solutions. Live Ops, I remember applying for multiple of their jobs. The way they did it at the time was you could see everything on their website, the client or the type of opportunity. They don't tell you what kind of client it or who the client is. You would select it, apply, and then you'd get invited to a like group learning session. And so I remember I had done that and the client turned out to be AbbVie, AbbVie. I was just doing it to be nosy. And so after that, I didn't follow through because I didn't have any intentions on it. But I don't know what the next step is for Live Ops. Next Rep, I have a whole video about them on my channel that I did a while ago. And I'm actually not remembering what all I found with my research for them, but it's a 40-minute video and I give you like a whole PowerPoint thing. I'm trying to remember how they do theirs, but just watch the video and I tell it in that video. So, I try to keep everything up here, like I said, but I can't remember all the details, but I do have a video about them. So, those are like the big four: Working Solutions, Arise, Live Ops, and Next Rep, where you can have the flexibility of making your own schedule and hours. Oh, and Mod Squad. Can't forget the Mod Squad. That's the fifth one. And there are other companies, but those are the main ones that you'll see all the time. And keep in mind with making your own hours, it depends on that client's hours. So, for example, let's say you chose a Mickey Mouse client, and the hours of operation for the Mickey Mouse client is from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. Within their hours of operation, if you were able to get on with that client, you could choose your schedule within the scope of their operating hours from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. Now, also with that, there are other people who might get those hours first. And typically, the way companies do it are the most successful reps get first dibs. So if your metrics are really good, then you'll get first dibs. And after that, it opens up to everyone else. So that's kind of an incentive that they use so that you can get the hours you want. You got to service a client and do well, and then you can get those hours. Um, and it's on a first come, first serve basis. But yeah, a lot of people get the hours that they want and they make it work for them. So those are the only types of jobs that are out there. And that reminds me, this was months ago. Someone had my mouth is dry. Someone had asked me, is there like a such thing as sort of like a Uber, or like a work when you want, or like a DoorDash type thing for work from home jobs? Not to my knowledge. The only thing that I had ever seen come close to this, and this was years ago, I probably privated that video because I didn't even have a channel yet, but I had posted that on my channel and I'm looking rough and all that. So I don't think it's on there. But it was like a 60-second video where I talk about this one company called Shift Gig. Let me see if they even exist anymore. And it wasn't a work from home job. It was in person. Let's see. Is that even a thing anymore? I don't see them come up on Google. Let's see what it says. It says in April 2019, Shift Gigs hospitality and national event staffing markets were acquired by a company. Okay. Yeah. So what that was a friend of mine had mentioned that he had gone to some in-person like hiring training event, and then apparently you could just go work any sort of job where they had missing shifts. So one day you might be working at Joe's Crab Shack, or the next day you might be working at a hotel, or Burger King pulling a shift. And I didn't follow up with how any of those went while it was still a company, but that wasn't a work from home thing. That was an in-person thing. So I went down a whole different tangent there. But back to what I was talking about. There's no such thing as sort of like an Uber for work from home. The closest you can get are those 1099 companies that I mentioned: Working Solutions, Live Ops, Next Rep, Mod Squad, and Arise. So yeah. Most of the jobs that I see these days, Miranda, or the ones that I've been posting, will have it to where you are eligible within that 1 to 3 month range. So yeah, I've been seeing that on pretty much all the leads that I have shared. Yeah, anytime it's like full time, then you know for sure that, and it's not a contracting position, they'll give you benefits, and they typically start within that. Where did my chat go? Uh-oh, I'm sorry, y'all. I moved the screen over somewhere. Okay, there we go. I'm looking at the comment questions here. What time is it? Oh my goodness, it is 10:40. I've been on here for almost an hour. Wow. I can chit chat. Let's see. Anyone work for T-Tech? I just applied, but I'm hesitant after reading some reviews of people quitting. Anyone can confirm their experience. I applied about 2 hours ago and got an email to schedule an interview. That's a good thing. Congrats. Yeah, that's awesome. Now, when it comes to reviews and everything, I'll never tell somebody ignore reviews or don't listen to reviews, because most of the companies that I share on my channel, I base off of the reviews. And even when a company doesn't have the greatest reviews, I will still, look at what it is that people are saying that's negative about them. And then I'll weigh the option. Do you guys want to hear about the job? Would I do the job knowing this? And if the answer is yes, then I'll still share them. But what I'll say about reviews is something that bothers someone else might not be a big deal for you. So, it really depends on what the reviews are saying. If you are reading the reviews and you're like, that sounds like my last situation, I don't want to go back to that, then don't, I wouldn't follow through. But if you're reading the reviews and it seems like, it's not that bad, I need a job, then, sometimes you just got to see about it for yourself. So that's my 2 cents on listening to the reviews and everything. I lost my place in the chat, so I'm sorry if I'm skipping over anyone's question. This is more of a comment, but it's hard to choose work from home jobs when most of the products are not interesting to represent. On Monday, I shared a video about 4 seasonal jobs. One of the jobs, you would be selling cheese. I thought that was interesting. And then another one was a jewelry company. And then another one of those companies was Vail Resorts. So that's like a ski company, and you'd be booking people's reservations. And what was the fourth one? I can't remember. But those were some examples of, like, to me, interesting positions. So, you just got to look around. It really takes a lot of time looking at leads, doing it daily, to find that perfect gem that you really want to do. And there are a lot of different companies out there. Like, I prove it to you guys all the time. Oh, it's a new to this channel company, a new to this channel company. I'm always saying it. There's a lot of companies out there, and I'm still discovering them years and years after starting this channel. So, you just want to look. And, I agree. Like, if you're doing something that, or representing a product that's boring, like the company that I had represented with Arise was an energy company. It was a snooze fest. I was like, I don't want to talk about energy. I don't want to talk about your energy bill. Like, it was so boring. I did not like it at all. And that's probably why I didn't do it too long. So yeah, you just gotta keep looking. Gotta keep looking. I literally roll out of bed and I'm there. Yeah, working your work from home commute, it's awesome. Like, there's nothing like knowing, "Oh, my work is right there. I don't gotta hit the highway. I don't gotta sit in anybody's office." I can just get up, do what I gotta do, and sit down at that computer. I love it. Okay. So, let's see, what else? Are there any non-experience friendly remote jobs that you can work even as you travel or on vacation using phone or laptop? This is a good question because it reminds me to give you guys a PSA that there are no jobs that you can do from your phone. Now, a company might say you need your phone for two-factor verification. Okay, when I was logging into my systems, when I was doing the phone jobs, a app had to be downloaded on my phone, and I'd have to, confirm it so that I could log into the system. But I was working on a computer. There are no jobs that you can do from your phone. They're all scams. I haven't If there are any, I'll stand corrected and I'll share it, but I haven't found any. So, those are scams. Now, as far as laptop friendly, yes, there are. And when I was a tutor, I could travel with my job. But the thing about that was I had tutored in college, and then I had to take the SAT and make a certain score. And they were only hiring people with certain GPAs at the time. Now, English as a second language tutoring jobs, sometimes those are no experience friendly. Some of those companies require you to have the ESL certificate, but I have seen some say you don't need it, you just need a bachelor's degree. And then I've seen maybe one or two, and I cannot think of their names off top, that have mentioned you just need to be able to speak English. So I'm gonna make myself a note. I'm gonna make myself a note. I'm gonna see if I can find any like no experience, no, possibly no degree ESL jobs. And typically those are jobs that you can travel with. Those are the ones. And then anything non-phone like data entry, oftentimes you don't need to be in a set location. The reason why most of the time you're in a set location for jobs is because you are either taking phone calls or you have to be on camera. And so if those two elements aren't part of your job description and you don't need to necessarily be in one location. So those would potentially be laptop friendly roles. And so you could do that with a lot of the non-phone roles that I mention on my channel. But you always have to confirm that with your hiring manager. So if they don't call it out specifically, then you have to ask them about that. And one that I mentioned shared on my channel kind of in the last like few weeks was that one from Connections Academy. If y'all remember that lead, that one you could work on your laptop, and they specifically said that in the lead. It said, well, just have your laptop. It was non-phone, and it was also part-time. And that lead opens and closes fast, and you won't see it all the time because kids were going back to school a few weeks ago. Now they're in school. So you might not see that lead pop up for some months. I always check. I make my rounds around the internet, but yeah, that was one that I can remember specifically saying it's okay. So check out English tutoring jobs. You will have to be on camera, but as long as you have a good connection, you can take your work with you, and I would do that. And then check out any sort of like non-phone typing, data entry type work. Those tend to be portable. Is there anything you can say to the employer when you don't like to be on camera? Isn't that a privacy violation? Their company, their rules. I know some people don't like that. Some companies will require you to be on camera during your whole shift. Some companies, they, don't require it for like the whole shift. It's just, during meetings. If the nature of your job doesn't require you to be on camera, like for example, like I said, I was on camera with my students tutoring them. I had to be on camera. But if the nature of your job doesn't require you to be on camera, but they still require you to have your camera on so that they can check in on you during your shift, it really is just a matter of what are you willing to accept. And if you don't like that, then, unfortunately, it's those companies' policies. So I would just look for a different company that doesn't have that requirement. And then some companies don't require you to be on camera, but they do use like a tracker to make sure that you are being productive. So, like when you clock in, a lot of time keeping softwares like Hubstaff, for example, that's one that I've used where, it occasionally takes screenshots of your employee's screen to make sure that they are, actually working while they're clocked in. And I know on the receiving end, like as the employee, it feels like, well, don't you trust me? Why do you have to watch me? Or why are you taking screenshots every so often? Or why are you trying to make sure that I'm clicking around and my mouse isn't, just stagnant? And that's because a lot of times people take advantage of these companies, you know? And me and you, we're not the bad apples. We do our work. We're not going to do that. But there are a lot of people who do that. Um, so yeah, that's it's up to the company. If they're trying to make you do that and you don't like it, there's other companies out there. But I get it. It does feel invasive. Congratulations! Yay! You got hired at Concentrics. Thank you for watching. Someone, something that was brought to my attention, maybe like earlier this year, is a lot of folks after they get hired from, my channel and they're working from home, they still watch the videos, even though they're not actively looking for a job. They'll still tune in, just to kind of see what's out there. And, nothing is wrong with that. You can be gainfully employed and still hear about what's out there. You might find that there's a job paying more that you're qualified for and you like it better. So, even if you're not actively looking for a job, you can still tune in. I appreciate you. What about flexibility work when you want jobs? Okay, I had answered that one. Monique says, I currently work from home for Humana through Conduit and desperately looking for something else. The training was poor. DMSL, stressful job, and a high turnover rate. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that sounds stressful. Let me read that again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have a lot of different companies you could go with. Since you've been working through Conduit for Humana, you still have that healthcare experience working in healthcare. Share a lot of healthcare companies. You may even want to try working directly for Humana instead of going through Conduit. You can put on your resume when you're applying that you have experience working, or servicing their products. And, now you're trying to go directly through them. Yeah. So if you have that experience, there's a lot of different things you can do. My advice, Monique, is apply, apply, apply. Anything that you think is a good fit. And you can tell when you're reading through a job lead if it sounds like it's going to be hectic. Like there's certain lingo that these companies use when it's like, yeah, we're going to work the mess out of you. And you can read that in the job lead. And I avoid sharing those jobs as much as I can help it. So, sometimes I'll come across a job lead where it says, and, we expect you to answer a high volume of inbound calls and make a high volume of outbound calls. High volume means I'm going to have a phone glued to my ear. So, guess what? I'm not applying to if I don't like that. I'm not applying to that one. So, when you're looking for these jobs and applying, make sure you're vetting them when you're reading through those job leads. Anything that sounds like they're going to be working you to death, that's not the one. You want to find a company that's going to give you a balanced amount of work. Yes, it's work, but they're not trying to, you know, put a phone and glue it to you. So, there's options. There's options. Mhm. When working for a work from home job, when is the best time to ask for a pay raise? Annual reviews is always a good time. That's when I got a pay raise. Sometimes, like, if you feel like it's been, so I'll give you an example, and it might, and I think this could be a universal example. So remember, I was a tutor. And so after working in that job for maybe like 6 months or something like that, where I had a good amount of students under my belt, every time I worked with a new family, they would leave reviews. We would always do like weekly check-ins, one-on-ones with our direct manager. And then there are, the other levels of managers. I would always, be present for that, have good feedback. Anytime there's any like constructive criticism, the next time we would meet, it was like either every other week or something like that, maybe twice a month, maybe not every single week. But, I have a track record of like 6 months of work, meeting with my manager, doing reviews, looking at, what I'm doing and can improve, and all these rave reviews from families. At that point, 6 months, half a year, if I, am ready to have a conversation about that, I want to be the one to bring it up. That would give me something to stand on. 3 months, a lot of times 90 days is a probationary period. So I say like 6 months because you're past that probationary period. You have enough, track record to be able to say, like, hey, I think that, based off of the work I'm doing, and maybe some of the responsibilities that I've been taking on and all that, I can, stand to have a increase. Now, instead of me coming to them, they came to me and I got a raise like after maybe 6 months or something. I can't remember because I've gotten raises without asking for them before, just saying. And at the annual review, the first one, I also got a raise. And then it was probably like the second review that I started having an issue with them because they changed the work structure. So, anyway, not to go down a tangent or a rabbit hole there, it's always best to, ask for a raise when you think you have enough evidence on your side to where it's like, hey, I deserve one. So 6 month mark after you start working, especially if maybe you accepted something lower than what you know you're worth. And, you know, if you know that, hey, industry standard is this, and you find that out after the fact, then yeah, and then, of course, annual reviews always a great time. And don't be scared to ask for the raise because if you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, they would rather give you that raise and keep you than to hire someone new. And I've gotten raises in a remote environment. One of the challenges with asking for a raise in a remote environment, because I never met a soul from that company, that's true remote work. It wasn't a hybrid model. It wasn't, I went in for an in person interview and got hired and, had the option to go to an office. No, this was true remote work where I got interviewed and hired and worked for years in a remote environment. So one of the challenges with that is getting the right person to meet with you. And that can be difficult in a remote place or a remote environment because sometimes companies have a lot of like red tape. So one of the things that they had started doing, and just giving you this example because maybe this might be helpful to someone, was after maybe like a year or so, they changed the structure of the management from where we had a manager. That was their title. They were hired to be a manager, and we knew exactly who our direct manager was. They changed it from that to this sort of volunteer management system because they were doing a lot of hiring and the teams were getting so big. And so my cohort that I came in with, we ended up having someone from the cohort become our makeshift manager. And that's where some of the issues started to come in. So instead of me being able to go directly to someone who could actually do something, I had to go through my makeshift manager. And so, with all the office politics, even though we're working from home, you don't want to ever have anyone call you out for insubordination. So that's the red tape that I'm talking about, where it's sort of like loosey goosey, but you can't just jump over that person. And so that person and I didn't have a good agreement on how things should be done because you're not really my manager, you're my coworker. So in a remote environment, sometimes you might have some things like that, but my best advice is just to push back, in as a respectful, professional way as you can if you do have red tape issues. And if you do find that you are having those kind of things going on and maybe you're not being heard, then, you can always send an email. But long to the short of it, when asking for a raise in a remote environment, is you just always want to have receipts to back up why you deserve a raise. So I hope that answers it. I started going down a rabbit hole there. I told y'all I can chat. I have stories. I have a lot of things I can talk about with remote work. Let's see what y'all are saying. Mhm. That gave some direction. Okay, so I wanted to share some articles and some things that I've seen, but I don't want to skip over any pressing questions. Let me go back up. Oh, this is a good one about equipment. Did most of you need equipment to start? I definitely do, and I can buy it between jobs. With equipment, sometimes companies will provide it. That's always wonderful when they do. But if they don't provide the equipment, then, there are really good options. I always talk about my Amazon storefront. You don't have to get it from my Amazon storefront. I just, have those options there. If you find a good deal on a computer, then, go ahead and get that. But I will say, having your own equipment allows you to have more options. So when you have your own equipment, you don't have to worry about does the company provide it because you have it. And not every company is going to provide you with the equipment. And then sometimes companies are going to provide you some of the equipment. So, they might send you like I keep going back to the tutoring example, but like I had to write on camera, like write on the we did our meetings through Zoom. So like they sent me this. Well, not this. This is a new version and it's actually Bluetooth, but I was charging it. They sent me like what is this called? A Wacom Intuos pad. They sent me one of these so that I could, do work on the camera with the kids. They sent me like a couple of lights. They sent me a headset. What else did they send me? Oh, they sent me, I can't grab it, but the USB ports, like so you can plug in multiple USB plugs. They sent me one of those. They didn't send me a computer, They didn't send me the main thing that you would need, but they sent me some stuff. So my point is, sometimes a company will send equipment, all of it. Sometimes they'll send some of it, but you'll always be good if you have your own. And you can write that off too on your taxes, by the way. Now, I'm not going to get into all that tax stuff because I am not a tax professional, but it's a gift that keeps on giving. You buy the equipment, you can make money from home, and then you can write it off on your taxes and get that deduction. So, don't be scared to spend a little bit of money to make more money. But yeah. There's something called Shift Smart. I'll have to look into that one. The company I was talking about is called Shift Gig. Um, Shift GIG. It was an app, and you could pick up shifts after you did like the initial sort of like training thing. But I'll have to check out Shift Smart. Haven't heard about them. I have no clue. Is Axelon Staffing a real company? Um, in the workshop is still up, but one of the things that I've talked about a lot, and I know I talk about it in the workshop, and I'm not sure if the workshop is linked here, but let me see if, okay, I have a video called Three Red Flags, and it's about identifying if something's a scam. I'm linking it in the chat box, and I can share my screen. It's this video right here. 3 red flags in an online job scam. Signs of a fake job, or else you'll get scammed. This video is very helpful because this is a question that, we all come across. Google the company, check their Glassdoor, check to see if the person that you're talking to in the email is on LinkedIn. Check and see if there's any other sign of them existing. All of those things are necessary whenever you're looking at any company because there's a lot of fake companies out here. So, excuse me, y'all. My voice, it gets stronger and weaker as the day goes on. But make sure whenever you're looking at a company to apply to that you Google them and see if they have a website and check out their website. Then go to their Glassdoor account, see what's going on in their Glassdoor. And then if someone's emailing you saying, hey, we're offering you a job, go to LinkedIn and ask, well, don't ask LinkedIn, but search on LinkedIn if, that person is there. Look up on LinkedIn, type in the recruiter's name. They're going to be on LinkedIn. You can search for the company on LinkedIn. You have to do this for every company you find because there's a lot of fakes. And if you're not finding anything on Google, you don't find the recruiter on LinkedIn, you don't find the company on LinkedIn, you don't find them on Glassdoor, you don't find anything about them when you Google search them, or, it's just, it just doesn't look good, then it's a scam. And this is, like I said, you've got to do this for every company that you are interested in applying to because there are a lot of scams out here. Anybody can get on any website and pretend to be a company. That's why I always recommend going directly through that company's website. So I know on Glassdoor, they have a button sometimes that says quick apply or something like that. And then you can just submit your application. No, 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 no. Go to their website, go to their careers tab, find that job, and apply directly through their website. That's how you're going to cut down on a lot of the malarkey. Malarkey. There's a lot of it, and we want to cut down on it. So that's how you can verify if they are legit. Upshift, that's another one. I'm going to look into these. Y'all said Shift Smart. I have it on my notes right here. Yeah, Shift Smart. I'm going to see what they're about. And then Upshift. Haven't heard of those two. Hospitality, as in like someone who works at the front of the hotel or like reservations. Occasionally you'll see those. Check the hotel websites, check travel websites. That's your best bet in finding those. But travel positions have been really slim pickings. On the mega list of jobs, I do have some companies that offer travel positions. I'm always looking because I know those are like fun type jobs. We're talking about you want to do something fun. It's been slim pickings. The closest that I found recently was that Vail Resorts gig or job. I don't use a VPN, but my admin does. I've been saying to myself I want to try it out because I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. But yeah, I think I'm going to use a VPN. Okay. So let me show y'all something. If I didn't answer your question, I apologize. But there are so many resources on my website and my channel. But let me see. What was it? Okay, there was an article that had saw. And I clicked out a bunch of tabs. So maybe I closed it. Give me a minute, y'all. I'm looking for this article. Okay, I think it was this one. Let me bring it over here to my other screen. Oh, and then I've seen one about Meta. Is it Meta? It's like from a couple months ago. Now, y'all have been, hearing the stuff that I've been hearing about, some companies, they want you to go back to the office, and this is a question that I think remote workers always have. Like, is remote work here to stay? Are we going to have to go back to the office at some point in time? For some companies like, T-Tech, for one, example, they were one of the very first companies when everything happened, in 2020. that was like proactive about reaching out to folks who wanted to work from home, and they got in contact with me, and we did a lot of content together. And there were other companies who, they got on board. Everyone had to get on board. You don't want your company shut down during the what. So a lot of companies did switch to that, but they have always maintained, when we can, we're going back to the office, y'all. And so some companies have made the decision, well, it's working, we'll stay remote. But then you have other companies like Mark so and so, who's like, actually, I'd like to go back to the office. So it's not this screen, it's showing my other one. Hold on a second. So I'm just gonna, I need to switch which one I'm sharing. Hold on. So present. This one. Okay. So I just looked at this. I was like, what are they doing? And when the big companies do stuff, all the other companies want to like jump in line, like, oh, they're doing it, so let's do it too. So, just keeping up with what's going on. Now, this is from a few months ago. This was written back June 1st. So this was June is August. So it's been like 2 months, almost 3. So it says Meta will require employees to return to the office 3 days a week starting in September. So that's actually getting ready to happen for them in like the next week or two. So it says the social networking giant began notifying employees on Thursday of its new remote work policy. We're committed to distributed work, and we're confident people can make a meaningful impact both from the office and at home. And then many companies like Amazon and Google, parent Alphabet, have been reversing course on previous remote work plans and have called on their workers to return to physical offices at least 3 days a week. So, like I said, y'all, when big companies start doing things, a lot of smaller companies start doing them too. Those positions that were brick and mortar, but they went remote for the time being, they might say, oh, well, they're doing it, we might, go back as well. That would mean it's not remote work, it's technically telecommuting. These terms used to actually have meaning. Telecommuting, once upon a time, meant that you worked in an office primarily, but you did have some like work from home flexibility. So maybe 2 days out the week you would work from home, or 3 days out the week. And then remote work meant like truly remote, you're not tethered to an office or anything. And then work from home meant work from home. But now all of these terms get mixed up interchangeably. Just my own personal bone to pick. But anyway, I digress. So, those were the highlights from that. But, I was interested in seeing like why? Why do they want people to come back to the office for 3 days a week? And let's see, does he answer that? I'm going to peruse through it. Okay, so Marky Zuckerberg said the company learned over the course of the year during the height of COVID pandemic that good work can be done anywhere. And I'm even more optimistic that remote work at scale is possible, particularly a remote video presence and virtual reality continue to improve, he said at the time. Since then, however, many companies like Amazon and Google, parent Alphabet, have been reversing course on previous remote work plans and have called on their workers to return to physical offices at least 3 days a week. And he hinted that in March. And then it says our early analysis of performance data suggests that engineers who either joined Meta in person and then transferred to remote or remained in person performed better on average than people who joined remotely. This analysis also shows that engineers earlier in their career perform better on average when they work in person with teammates at least 3 days a week. So it says part of the company's year of efficiency, which will result in roughly 21,000 employees losing their jobs. Uh-oh. Hold on. I didn't mean to hit that button. Losing their jobs. Major layoffs. So that's crazy. Not only is this man going to make folks go back to work for 3 days a week, he is going to lay off 21,000 employees. Which brings me to, another point. I've been hearing about, companies doing a lot of layoffs. And, I'm not the person who's going to tell you guys, be scared, like a fear monger. I'm not that person at all. Okay. But I am someone who likes to pay attention to what's going on. And remember earlier in the year when all those bank runs were happening? Remember that? And, that's all the news could talk about, and people were scared, and, the bank collapse. Who was that? Silicon Valley Bank. Whatever happened to that? And then remember, everyone was talking about layoffs and recession, and then they just stopped talking about it. I remember that. Do y'all remember that? Or maybe I'm remembering wrong. Let me know in the chat. Talk to me, y'all. Shelly remembers it. I remember too, Shelly. And then, they just sort of stopped talking about it. I am pretty sure that we're going to be hearing about more companies doing layoffs. And I think I had seen, hold on, because I don't want to say the name without. Yep, it was them. Let me show y'all. Let me make sure my location isn't showing. Let me pull up an article. It was CVS. It was CVS who said they're getting ready to lay off some people. We know CVS. I've shared CVS leads. I see a lot of people share CVS leads. It says that they're going to eliminate like 5,000 jobs. I'm going to click on this article from USA Today. It's important for us to know what's going on. I look at, I told myself I'm going to stop looking at the news for a little bit because like it's actually been depressing me, like not going to lie. Like anytime they tell me something about a child or, something crazy happening, like I be going through it. Okay, it's showing. So this was written at the beginning of the month. It said CVS layoffs, healthcare giant cutting about 5,000 non-customer facing positions. What does that mean? Okay. So it says less than 2% of the company's total workforce. Right? There's roughly 300,000 employees at the end of 2022. We do not expect there to be any impact to our customer-facing colleagues in our stores, pharmacies, clinics, or customer services centers. So I guess that's a good thing because a lot of their work from home jobs is, like customer service oriented. So it doesn't look like this round of layoffs is going to involve, the customer service folks. But let's keep reading. The company said those impacted by the layoffs will receive severance pay and benefits, including access to outplacement services. So at least they're going to help you find a new job. They say you can't work here, but maybe someone can help you work somewhere. And they'll give you a little bit of money. Okay. And it says CVS has more than 9,000. Okay, so we see. All right, we see what's going on here. That's not the only one. Like we just read that, Meta is going to be laying off 21,000 employees, plus telling everyone to go back. And then we saw that Google and Amazon, they were telling folks to go back too. And they claim it's because, you're more productive. Now, I have seen on, ooh, I want to see if I can find it. I saw this like months ago on, just scrolling, but this girl was taking calls and braiding hair. Did y'all see that video? It was just going around. Y'all saw that? And the comments were like, this is why they're making us go back to the office. Look for it. Let's see. Is this the one? I'm trying to find that video. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Is this it? No, that's not it. I cannot find this video for anything. I saw this probably like on Instagram. But anyway, it was this girl. She was braiding hair and she was taking phone calls, like doing a customer service job. And like she was going dirt slow too because she kept having to go back to her computer and then she would go back to braiding and then she just sort of pause. I was getting aggravated because I'm like, girl, braid the hair. But, this is if the comments were saying, this is why we're going back to the office. I don't know if it's just instances like that, but companies are flip flopping. One moment they're saying employees are more productive than ever. Then another moment they're saying they're not more productive than ever. And then also keep in mind with the recession, that we're in, that I don't think anybody can really deny. I think these companies, this is just my theory. If YouTube cuts off my live, then we know why. But my theory is I think because a lot of companies aren't as profitable year over year. And again, I'm drawing a blank out one company that's not as profitable. Target. It was Target. Okay, they're not as profitable year over year because of a lot of stuff that has been going on with Target. But I think because when money's looking funny, these companies try and figure out where can we come up with, more money or how can we become more productive so that we can have more money coming back into the company, whatever. So they start looking at all these different places. And they say, well, I think we might be more productive if we have people in the office. Because if they're in the office, then we really can crack the whip. And so now they're going to, do more work that's going to lead to us increasing our bottom line. And so we can make up, some of that lost revenue. That's just where my mind connects the dots. Now, y'all might have a different theory. I could be totally wrong. But remember, they were saying, oh, everybody's so productive, work-life balance, they're doing good work. Now, all of a sudden, when all of these companies' profits are down, now they got to go back into the office. So I don't know. Just my 2 cents. What do y'all say? He said, I'm hearing they're getting ready to roll out a new lockdown in the next months. Anyone else hear that? Yes, I have been hearing that. And I'm not going to be locked down. Not over here. I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not taking anything. I'm not being locked down. So they can lock down what they want to lock down. And mind y'all, in Atlanta, we never were shut down. People were coming to Atlanta and they were coming here because everywhere else was closed. And some people are like, oh, everyone's so irresponsible. And, oh, they're partying, they're getting together. You're supposed to be separated and, all of that. And I'm not trying to get into, what you might feel about that. But I will say that some people never were quarantined. So I don't know if they'll do it this time around. But yeah, I heard that. I've heard that. And they always come out with, oh, it's a new variant. It's another one. It's not going to go away. So that was actually the first question that I answered. This live will be posted, but I talked about some companies that would work: T-Tech, Humana, Working Solutions, and then pretty much any company. But it just depends on what you're willing or what your skill sets are. So, or what your skill set is. So, watch the replay of this, and that was like the very first question. I went in depth with it. So, yes, there are companies that will hire you. And if you are encountering age discrimination, I'm very sorry to hear that. Connie said, with the school loan fiasco, a lot of people will be working for sure. What you mean, Connie? Can you give me more context? I might be out the loop. You don't believe people will because many people have woken up. I'm glad. I am so glad because it's like, I remember when everything was first happening, no one knew what was really going on. So, yeah, I understand like the panic. And I think everybody was affected negatively in some way, when it happened. I know I was in multiple ways. But this time around, I don't think it'd have to be something totally they'd have to find a brand new boogeyman, for them to try and pull that off. This time around, people are like, yeah, we've been there. Like, whatever. You should never have to pay for you should never have to pay for shipping for your equipment. When a company is going to send you equipment, they just send it to you. They don't require you to put any money up front for it. A company is never going to send you a check to cash so that you can purchase your equipment, and they are never going to ask you to pay for shipping for the equipment. They will just send it to you. So anytime you see a company say, well, you got to pay us for shipping and handling, or you got to go cash this check, and then you can go buy your equipment, run, it is a scam every single time. That's a good question. I'm looking at y'all's comment. Stacy said, hi, Delilah. I have a question about companies posting a pay range. Then when you speak with the recruiter, he responds that they have to post the range, but the budget doesn't allow them to pay it. Yeah. Here's the thing about that. And that's also another good question. So why is it that companies will post a pay range? They have the low end, they have the top end, but then, they say, well, we don't pay that. And then sometimes, a lot of times, companies won't even post a pay range. They won't mention pay in the job lead. They tell you everything but that information. Well, it's because companies want to get away with paying as little as possible. More bang for your buck. So we can't really expect the companies to be forthcoming, especially when they don't even list the pay. And then also, when they do have the range there, that means they do have the money. They're just not trying to give that money. In that case, I'm looking somewhere else if I know I'm worth something and I'm not willing to accept the pay that they are offering. Also, that's why Glassdoor is important. And it was maybe like, it was a few weeks ago. Um, hold on, my throat. It was a few weeks ago, I believe. I had posted this job and it didn't list the pay on it. So of course, I always run the Glassdoor. What's going on? How much does this job pay? And then on Glassdoor, there was like 20 or 30 or 40 people who had reported making, I don't even remember the number and I don't even remember the exact job. I just remember the situation. The people had reported all making like, let's say $20 per hour. So that's what, I say, hey, look, this is what folks are paying or getting paid. And then I guess on the lead, it mentioned a much lower amount. And this is something that you'll see companies do all the time. And there's some cognitive dissonance about, well, what does the job actually pay? And we can only go off of what we know. So if the lead mentions, like, hey, are you cool with accepting this amount of pay? Then, either you are or you aren't. And I would just prepare myself to, go into negotiations. And if we can't meet where we need to meet, then, it's no love lost. I move on to another lead. But also, the information on Glassdoor lets us know that even if maybe they're not saying that's what I'm going to get paid, that's what people are making in the job. And I've seen this many, many, many times. And that's why I like Glassdoor so much, because it really does give you like a look into what a company could potentially pay and help you, figure out, okay, well, what am I going to ask for? What can I command in this role? I've been seeing where jobs on Glassdoor might list, 50 people reporting making, 25 per hour, but the max amount on the lead when it gives a range is $20 per hour. So, what does that mean? It could mean a couple of things. It could mean that now the job pays lower and that's as much as I can expect to earn. Or it could mean they just threw that number out there and people are actually earning the 25. And because I have that information and, I know what folks are making, I can go into negotiations and try and command that amount, which shouldn't be hard to do because at least 40, 50 people said that they made that. So I know I went around, but hopefully, I touched on a bunch of different points to this same question. When it comes to the pay range, if a company can't meet me where I'm trying to be at, and I know based on the range, they say they have the money, then I just have to evaluate, is it worth me accepting what they want me to accept? Or do I need to continue moving on? And only if you can accept what the company is offering. But I would keep in my mind, if I do accept that job, come time for reviews or a raise or whatever, I'm going to make my case to be paid what I know other folks are being paid. And companies are always going to try and set you up for the okie doke. They're not altruistic. They're not going to say, oh, everyone else in this job is making $25 per hour and you only asked for 18, so we're going to give you a bigger offer. Mm-mm. They're going to say, come on at $18 per hour, while your coworkers are making 25 per hour. That's why you'll see a lot of times at the bottom of the lead, you might see specific states called out. And you might see like the pay range for Colorado is such and such. Or, the pay range for California and Colorado is such and such. That's because some states are trying to pass legislation or already have passed some legislation where they have to have that pay open and disclosed so that people aren't doing the same job having those pay discrepancies. That's what that's about. So there are more states trying to get on board with this. I can't remember off top how many states. I want to say maybe it might be like 7. It might be 7 at the moment. But there's a handful of states right now that are working on making it to where everybody who comes in doing, let's say the job is customer service rep 1, everyone who comes into that customer service rep 1 position has to make the same amount of money. So that there aren't any discrepancies in who's getting paid what. But there are states where that's not a thing. There's a lot more states where that's not a thing. So long to the short of it, if they're offering you something lower than what they list, if they listed it, they were prepared to pay it. And you just have to decide if you're willing to take their offer or if you want to try and, fight back, negotiate. If not, there's a bunch of other companies out there. Doesn't it cost more to work in the office? It depends. I mean, a lot of these companies already have offices. And, you got the light bill, you got whatever. So when I was looking at these articles, I was like, they want folks to come back to the office. Let me see what their office looks like. So I had watched this video about Google's office. Let me show you guys this video. I just want to get you guys' thoughts. We're going here, there, everywhere, but we're talking about work. So let me go to YouTube and find it. So yeah, back to my theory. I think that maybe, the whole recession and, trying to find ways of improving productivity to increase the bottom line, I think that might have a lot to do with back to office stuff. But I don't know. That's my theory. Oh, Javi said, I think the companies who are laying off are legitimately losing money. And as far as work from home going to hybrid, it may be because their accountability isn't strong enough to keep some slackers productive. Yeah, I saw this one machine that would move your mouse around. Let me see if I can find it. I was like, what is this? Yeah. So they have these machines that can move your mouse around. And you're like, well, why would you want your mouse to move around? To make it look like you're working. Because, some companies can, have you download or have a software to where they can kind of keep track of your work productivity. And part of that is, the mouse movements. So like y'all see this is on Amazon. And you just turn a little machine on. Okay. And then it moves your mouse so that it looks like you're active. Now, are there a lot of people doing this? Probably not a ton of people. Maybe there are. I'm not sure. But it's enough of a thing to where at least 4,000 people bought this one, and at least almost 5,000 plus people bought that one. So maybe it is a big thing. Maybe people really aren't being productive like that. And that's why they have like these mouse mover devices to make it look like you are actually working when you are not. But I'm going to show you guys this video that I watched of a tour of Google's offices. All right, give me just a second. I'm just going to show you guys the video. Tell me what you guys think. I'm not going anywhere with this, but I just want to show you guys this video. Oh, hold on. Let me make sure the sound is on it. Share screen. I want to make sure the audio is playing. Okay, the audio should play when I play this.
We all use its services every day. It answers our most bizarre questions. You're even watching this video using the company's video streaming platform. We're talking Google, or more importantly, its bank-busting Silicon Valley headquarters. A short walk from the San Francisco Bay Area and a stone's throw away from other multinational headquarters like Apple Park and the homes of Facebook, eBay, and Netflix sits the 26-acre site on which we find Googleplex. Based in Mountain View, the Google headquarters gets its name from a play on words. Most evidently, it's a combination of Google and complex, but spelt a little differently, Googleplex is an incredibly large number with lots of zeros after it. The latter explanation is probably a hint towards Google's global monopoly and its incredible successes. The land was purchased from Silicon Graphics, the creators of Jurassic Park's famous dinosaurs. Maybe that's why a dinosaur still looks over the complex today. For the first time ever, Google didn't move into buildings that were inhabited by previous tenants. The multinational firm this time around took matters into its own hands and employed South African architect Clive Wilkinson. It was said that teamwork and creativity topped the mood boards in Wilkinson's office when designing the giant Google complex. Both firms came together to design a space which was not only set up to boost productivity, but also workforce satisfaction. This can be seen with fun lava lamps and even giant screens showing live Google search terms from around the world, a nod to the company's most famous asset. Oversized whiteboards plaster some walls, full of creative ideas and, not so creative anonymous jokes. And many of the lobbies are home to pianos, welcoming the next musician who dares to play. An incredible amount of glass was used in the construction of Googleplex, which boosts natural light, and offices are arranged in workspaces of 3 or 4 people. These little clusters are said to be effective for sharing and developing ideas, but are small and independent enough to reduce sort of hanging out. It seems that Google has perfectly balanced the best of both worlds. How a restaurant Insider photos show workstations decorated with various Google and Android paraphernalia, and from what we've seen, they seem to house some serious productivity. Employees are there to work, but the company doesn't want them to feel that way. Staff are treated as friends, with access to an incredible amount of facilities. We've all heard of an on-site gym, that's nothing new, but the company also offers swim-in-place swimming pools. These are designed to reduce the footprint needed by allowing swimmers to swim against an artificially generated current. Various ping pong, billiards, and foosball tables are dotted throughout the campus, with spaces to kick back and enjoy some video gaming too. Google even has its own self-contained pods, which are used by staff members to kick back and relax or to distance themselves from their surroundings in order to get down to work on some heavy tasks. What about outdoors? After all, California weather is supposed to be among the best in the world. Google has that covered too. Tennis courts, soccer fields, and other outdoor spaces for fun frisbee games are all totally free to use for staff. These are all interlinked by a network of private footpaths. Health is looked after by on-site medical staff, and luxury is provided by a company-subsidized massage service. A haircut salon, a laundrette, and dry cleaners. The list goes on. In fact, rumor has it that team members bring their laundry in over the weekend to avoid having to use their own machines. The best part about it, traveling between these amenities is all done on Google covered funds. It's even reported that many employees are given a 20% portion of their work time to focus on side projects unrelated to their usual workload. Promoting and inspiring creativity pays off. Google says that's how many of its labs projects were dreamt up. Self-sufficiency was key to the Googleplex. Although not fully, some of the complex's energy requirements are met by on-site solar panels, which were carefully placed across the building's roofs. Some of the fruit, vegetables, and herbs eaten in the company's cafeterias are even grown in one of the park's 2 gardens, which themselves are accredited by an educational society whose aim is to teach people about the benefits of horticulture. Many scientists and psychologists have commented on the benefits of getting outdoors for our mental health. And as you'd expect, tech giant Google recognizes these benefits, with mindfulness spaces strategically placed around the complex, utilizing spaces like the food gardens. Oh, and one last perk, food. Are you
Oh,
sitting down? Because this isn't for the faint-hearted. Google provides its staff with food, and a
oh
lot
wow.
of it, entirely for free. Workers can enjoy breakfast, lunch, and dinner at the
Breakfast,
site's
lunch, and
various
dinner.
cafes free
Wow.
of charge, including at Charlie's Place, the main cafeteria which was named after Google's first lead chef, Charlie Ayres.
I thought maybe
Nowadays, the
breakfast and
restaurants
lunch, but
focus on
dinner?
food that is
Huh.
fresh, organic, and healthy. Those Buddha bowls or that smashed avocado on toast that you see on Instagram, these are the sorts of meals being dreamt up by head chefs, which include a fusion of the world's foods. We imagine a wide variety of dietary requirements are considered when planning the menus at
Oh,
the
all
Google
sorts of
place.
dietary
But Google employs
requirements
real
there.
people. They're not all robots. And these real humans get hungry between meals, just like you and I. The solution? Every single workspace is within walking distance of an entire snack room, which is stocked with treats like granola, candy, and hot and cold drinks.
No
The
snack
novelty of
station.
consistently eating out may have worn off for many of the company's more seasoned members of staff, but kitchenettes are always nearby with essential amenities like microwaves, kettles, and fridges. An unwritten saying among the company's workforce is the Google 15, which refers to the 15 pounds of weight that new starters often gain with all this free
Really, you'll
food.
gain
In fact, we
15 when
don't
you
actually
start.
know how much the
Open
company spends on
24/7.
feeding the entire
Wow.
campus, but one blogger ran some
24/7.
calculations and
Food
came up
at
with
an
a figure of at
office.
least $72 million each year. Traveling to and from the expansive site, employees are likely to catch a Wi-Fi-enabled diesel-powered bus. Other members may take to the roads in their own cars, after which they will find one of 2,000 parking spaces underground. Or maybe the staff want to plug their electric cars into the power points supplied under a solar panel-topped carport. Any visitors to the site will be quick to notice the fun aspects that Google injected here
Oh,
and
a
there.
dog.
An army of
I
Android
saw like 3
statues
dogs
populate
this
the main
video.
outdoor area, a Kit Kat and a gingerbread man to name just two. Of course, the green Android character features, as well as various spin-offs such as the metal Android statue popping out of the Android building's upper floor. What did all this cost? This site alone cost the firm around $1 billion.
$1 billion?
And that was in the same year as the
You think
$2.4
they're gonna
billion
let that one
acquisition of
go?
the New York Chelsea market.
Mm-mm.
Let's not forget the astonishing amount of money likely spent on food and other maintenance work, and this works out to be one of the world's most expensive headquarters. What do you think of the tech giant
More
Google's fusion of
scooters.
home and work balance? Would you work in such a place with its incredible
Video
benefits, or do you value
games.
time spent away from work? One thing's for sure, though, if for nothing else, this place is good for a visit as an insight into what the future may hold.
Okay, so I'm just gonna stop the video right here. Like, that's the end of the video. What do you guys think about that? Like, when I was reading the articles and I saw, oh, Meta's going back to the office, and they mentioned Google and some other companies, Amazon. Then I started looking up, Google, and then I stumbled upon that video, and I was like, I gotta show you guys that headquarters. You know, $1 billion for the headquarters. You think they're gonna let it go and let you work from home when they put $1 billion into their headquarters? Not likely. Not likely. And well, let me just get you guys' opinion. Does that sound cool or does that sound not cool? Would you want to work at a place like that? Or does that, send off red flags to you? Looking at what y'all are saying. Oh, yes. Mhm. I agree. There's definitely a motive. Okay, there's a motive to all of this. To me, anytime a company is like, "Oh, we've got food for you, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We got video games." I'm not sure if you caught it, but they were saying like people go there to like do their laundry. You see that right here? They're doing their laundry, getting stuff pressed. It says, rumor has it team members bring their laundry in over the weekend. Now, I'm not Sherlock Holmes. I'm not Columbo. But if I went into the office on the weekend, it would only be because I absolutely had to. And I'm not just opting to use their washing machine over mine. It's probably because I had to come into the office and there was literally no other time for me to do my laundry. So I need to do my laundry at work. Companies do all of these things because they want you to literally like live there. And I'm almost certain with as big of a place that is and all those like different pod things they have, people probably sleep there. That's just a hunch. I don't know. They didn't say in the video and I can't confirm. But that was actually terrifying to me. Like I can see through all of that. I can see through it. Yes, 24/7 food and snacks and you get to pet a dog and ride a scooter and all that, but that sounds like they want you living at work. And some people are into that, you know? Not me. Do you guys like that? It's intrusive. Some people like it, some people don't. Let's see. Shay said, my first thought is heck yes, I would work there. Second thought was how controlled are they to give that much of you? What do they want in return? Your time, every bit of it, all of it. Yeah, it is kind of creepy. Definitely kind of creepy to me. But maybe not. Maybe not. That's just my opinion. I told y'all, I have my little theory. I'm coming up with little theories all the time. I look into stuff. I think about stuff. But by no means do I know it all. I'm just thinking. And, with the whole thing about your family, I don't think most of these people are in that like family stage or don't really have one, you know? Like I just think about like a lot of shows that show people at work. Like I used to watch Scrubs all the time. Like Scandal, uh you can name a bunch of shows where it's like these people's lives is like always like work, and when they're not at work there's something work related happening, like on Scandal. I didn't watch the whole, like I can't remember which season I fell off, but I watched many seasons before I fell off. And it was like they're always doing stuff. Oh, we need to go meet and strategize. It's the middle of the night. Like I think it's like a lifestyle. People like that kind of thing where literally their life revolves around work and, work related things. I love, what I do and helping people with work, but there's a cutoff. So like when I was answering that question about, how to transition from the 9 to 5 to remote work, it looks a lot like 9 to 5 because I have a start time and a cutoff time. And that's how I have found work-life balance for the remote work life. But, some people, they want to work around the clock and ride scooters and pet dogs and stuff at work. So, yeah, I don't think they really do the family thing. What is it? My last question. If you received a stipend, do you have to show proof of purchase of equipment? You should never receive any money to go buy equipment. Now, a company will give you a stipend as part of like, when I was talking about the flexible jobs like working solutions, you might do an unpaid training, but at the end of it, they give you a stipend. That stipend isn't to go buy anything, it's money. They can't necessarily call it paid training because when it's a certain classification of a job, like 1099 versus W-2, they have different terminology. So you might get a stipend, but it's never for purchasing anything that you need in a job. There might be some times where, like, I have seen a company say, we'll help you get your home office set up. We'll give you, a stipend and, you can do what you want for your home office, but it was never earmarked for something specific. So you might see that on certain leads where a company has really great benefits. But again, the key thing is they're not giving you that money with directions. So they're not going to just send you a check or deposit money in your account and say, now you got to go buy this specific thing. Because most people would just take the money and run. So anytime they give you any type of stipend, it's either for training, but they can't call it that, or as an incentive, a benefit the company offers. Here's what, you can use to go buy something for your office, but we aren't telling you what to do with it. So if a company says, cash this check, now go buy a computer, that's a scam. If a company says, pay this shipping fee, that's a scam, if they want to send you something. So you'll never have money sent to you with directions for how to use it. Stacy said Google is offering its employees a chance to sleep on campus for a fee. Last year, Google asked its employees to work from office. Oh, let's see, at least 3 days a week. Later, the company announced stricter measures, including attendance for performance reviews, tracking badge data, and more. Wow, I don't put it past them. I mean, with all that, all those buildings and how big their campus is, I'm pretty sure, folks are living there. And it might be cheaper. You just stack up that money. They're getting paid well, free food, dogs and scooters and arcade games. You can do your laundry there. There's a sleeping pod or something. Pay this little fee and you can, put that 6-figure salary up. And when you're done with Google, go live a good life. Not living and breathing work, but some people, that's their lifestyle forever. There's more to life than living and breathing work. Yeah, if you want to evolve as a person, it would definitely get old. Yeah, like a big dorm on campus. And oh, the other thing. So I told you guys, I was reading the article. They mentioned some companies, which led me to one thing, which led me to seeing that video. And I was like, oh, I'll share that. One of the articles that I read was, and I'm going to pull it up to prove it. This is the last thing because it's really late. And I had no intention on being here past an hour. I need to go to bed because I got to take my son to school in the morning. But Google. This is what made me look them up. This is what it was. I'll show you. So, like I said, I like to stay up on what's going on in the wonderful world of remote work and all that good stuff. So, I had read that article, okay, about the what was it? The article about the Meta going back to the office. I read that article, and they had mentioned Google and some other folks, and under that was this article, which is ridiculous because it says always include an interest section on your resume. It says ex Google recruiter. I'm not looking to hire robots. Now, if we know anything about our resume, it is the story of our career. It's the facts and not the fluff. We have only so much prime real estate to use. And if you are in the resume course that I have, the doors are shut right now, but they will be open soon. You already know all of this, okay? You don't have time to put roller skating and rocket launching and all these other hobbies on your resume. Like, you don't have the room for that. This article is saying that this ex Google recruiter is telling you to put that on there. That is actually what it was that prompted me to be like, wait a minute. And that's when I started looking, and that's when I ran across that video. The only reason why you would ever care about somebody's interest is to figure out, are these good people to drink the Kool-Aid? Okay? Like, you're looking for folks who are going to drink the Kool-Aid. You don't want anybody get in there and do all that onboarding and go through the process of Oh, let me hide that comment. I didn't mean to click on that. I was trying to take the comment off. You don't want to do all that hiring, go through the process of getting somebody in there, and then you realize like they want to go home. Oh no, they want to go home at the end of the day. Like they want to clock in and clock out. They don't want to stay for dinner. They don't want to come in on the weekend and do their laundry and press their clothes. They don't want to like play in the arcade with their coworkers and, you know, walk dogs on campus and ride scooters together. Oh no. That's the only reason why you would care about someone's interest. I mean, think about it. What benefit does it do to know what their interests are if you're hiring them to do a job? You want to know if they can do the job. Like, of course, getting along goes a long way, but at the end of the day, you got to put your personality differences to the side when it comes to work time. And it's about, do you have the skills to pay the bills? I've literally never seen any resume, recruiter, HR advice ever mention put your interest on your resume. This is literally the one and only time. That's what tipped me off to say, well, let me go see what Google has going on. And it's clear they want people to drink the Kool-Aid. You know, they've probably figured out with their sophisticated algorithm that people who say they like Star Wars and, LARPing and some other things are great for drinking the Kool-Aid. And if they list that as their interest, then they're going to fit right on in at good old Google. So, but that's just my theory. I can't say it's true. Allegedly. I don't want YouTube and Google getting mad because, YouTube's owned by Google and all that. So, you guys, it is midnight. And I enjoyed being able to answer some Q&As for y'all. I know it's been months since I showed my face. I think my last live was when I talked about the check scams. If for all the folks who are asking questions about equipment, when is it okay to pay and whatnot, go to my YouTube channel and click on the lives. The video right next to this one, I go in depth talking about the check scams. And I probably even need to do like a video on it just so that it can be on my main video feed. But yeah, that video goes more in depth about what I was saying about never cash a check, never pay for equipment with money they send you, all that good stuff. Okay, you guys, so I am going to hit the hay, but there was something I was going to tell y'all. I can't remember. Let's not be important. But yeah, I'm going to hit the hay, and I hope you guys have a good evening, and thank you guys for hanging out with me for almost 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And I hope to get on live again really soon. I like doing these lives with y'all, and we can talk about whatever work from home topics that are on the mind. So good night, y'all. Stay blessed.